New Year's resolutions with one stone. I decided I was going to reread the Bible in a different version this year and write at least 1,000 words a day. So when I started to read the first chapter of Genesis, this is what I came up with. A creation story, and it's the opening scenes of my upcoming memoir. When God first began creating me, I was at first a chubby, chaotic mess, with the Spirit of God brooding over Douglas, which means dark waters. Then God took me away from my birth mother, and then out of the hospital, and said, "Let there be grace." And foster mom Grace appeared. And God was pleased with this, and began to separate Mom Grace from Dark Douglas. So he would bring them together, and then separate them again. He called the light Mom Grace, and the darkness Douglas. Together they formed the first 11 months of my life. And God said, "Let Douglas separate from Mom Grace to form the sky above, to remember Mom Grace by, and the ocean below, to remember the trauma of separation." So God made the sky, separating Mom Grace from Dark Douglas permanently. This all happened when I was 11 months old. Then God said, "Let the water beneath the sky be gathered into oceans so that the dry land will emerge." And so it was that God named the dry land intellect, and the water emotions, and God was pleased. Then God said, "Let your intellect burst forth with every sort of thought and understanding, and stories with ideas inside them, so that these ideas will produce the sort of understanding and wisdom they came from." And so it was, and God was pleased. This all happened between the ages of 1 and 21. Then God said, "Let there be bright lights in the sky to give light to the earth, and to identify the day and the night. They shall bring about the seasons on the earth, and mark the days and years." Then God made 2 huge lights, my adoptive mom and dad, to shine down upon my life. The larger one, my adoptive mom, to preside over my joy, and the smaller one, my adoptive dad, to preside over my sorrow. He also made my star-filled imagination, and God set them in my life to light my way, to preside over my joy and my sorrow, and to divide my intellect from my imagination and emotions. And God was pleased. This all happened between the ages of 1 and 25, but became especially clear between the ages of 21 and 25. Then God said, "Let your emotions teem with sorrow, joy, anger, and other passions, and let your imagination soar like a bird." So God created new emotional depths I never knew I had, and every sort of feeling and every kind of dream. And God looked at them with pleasure and blessed them all. "Multiply and stock the oceans with the universal trauma of separation," he told my emotions. And to my imagination, he said, "Let your dreams run wild, and fill the sky with memories of Mom Grace and the unconditional love I have for you." This all happened between the ages of 25 and 46 and a half. Then God said, "Let his dreams be destroyed by every sort of animal, a manipulative betrayer, a blind accuser, a false hope-inducing obstructor." And so it was. God made all sorts of wild animals to tear me limb from limb, and cattle to blindly ignore my bloodied carcass, and reptiles to falsely raise my hopes at the 11th hour. And God was pleased. He had done. Then God said, "Let us remake Douglas, someone like ourselves, to be the master of his intellect and imagination and emotions, and someone able to bring all 3 back into balance once again." So God remade me like my maker. Like God did God remake me, balancing male and female qualities did he remake me, even giving me the unisex name Kelly, after my foster home on Kelly Street, to make it that much more obvious. And God blessed me and told me, "Resurrect Douglas, and fill your mind and subdue it. You are master of your emotions and imagination and intellect. And look, I have given you imagination for where your intellect cannot go, and art and nature for your food. And I've given you a birth mother who loved to read,
and an adoptive mother who taught you to read before you ever went to school, so that you too would love to read, and that the stories you would spend your life reading would feed both your intellect and imagination. Then God looked over all that he had made of this beautiful catastrophe of my life, and it was excellent in every way. This sixth day of the story of my creation is still being rewritten at this moment, and will form the heart and soul of my upcoming memoir, Killing Justice. Now, my hope is that by the time of my foster mom Grace's 102nd birthday, in a couple of months' time, that the first draft of Killing Justice will be completed, along with all the raw materials for the eventual finished product. And once the final draft of Killing Justice is finally completed, I will cease from the work I have been doing. And God and I will both bless that day and declare it holy, because it will be the day when I finally cease this work of creating Killing Justice, and I hope that God will see fit to finally reward me with a little rest after more than 3 years in hell.